Hi everyone, and welcome to my videocast. I am Alistair Sawkins and a student in Dr. Akinro's mass media class. Upon brainstorming my topic, I thought about the effect social media has on us as individuals, and then narrowed it down to a specific social media site, which we are going to be taking a look at in this case. It's going to be Instagram. And also, how does browsing these sites make individuals feel about their own personal body image. So that's kind of how I came about my topic, and this is what we're going to be talking about today. So the effects of social media on teens' body image, and I chose the teens group because they are a very impressionable group, and a group who's largely engaged on Instagram. So I wanted to take a look whether or not these two affected each other. So without further ado, I will further introduce you in the next slide. So Instagram is a popular social media site which has 1 billion active monthly users. And a little bit about Instagram. On Instagram, people tend to portray the most attractive versions of themselves. So teens engaging in passive social media use being when teens browse content rather than create content. This is where it can be detrimental to their personal body image. So, pre-adolescent teens, specifically those in the 12 to 15-year-old range, may turn to social media to deem what is socially acceptable during times of bodily change, i.e., puberty. So now that they are on Instagram looking for what's socially acceptable during these times, they're really quite impressionable as to what they see and may make comparisons based on the images on the sites. So on Instagram, they encounter these glorified, edited, and sometimes photoshopped images. So if they make a comparison between themselves and these images, a negative body image can be created, and this can cause self-confidence issues and depressive symptoms. So these are bad as they can greatly affect one's mental health during these crucial stages of development. So in the next slide, I'll be talking about my annotated bibliography, and that pertains research to this topic. So let's take a look at my annotated bibliography. So now that I've established that um, teens are comparing themselves to others on social media and that this behavior can be detrimental, I wanted to find whether or not there was research around this topic or subject. So I headed over to the West Library database and found an article titled Links Between Social Media Comparison and a Teen's Body Image. So I believe this article fits quite nicely as it kind of it underscores what is happening in my opinion on Instagram, is when these children are making comparisons to other images they see. So this study was conducted in Australia, and it was comprised of 528 teens between 12 to 15 years. So the aim of the research was to show the negative effects that browsing social media can have on teens' body image. And in the study, they highlighted the social comparison theory. This theory states that people can sometimes judge themselves compared to others' social media posts. So the research found that the more time teens spend browsing social media can be linked to poorer body image and subsequently mental health. Also in the study, parents of the children were asked on a scale of 1 to 3 how strictly they controlled their teens' media use. And it was found that the more parental control exerted led to teens having a better body image, and this was due to the fact that there was a lower rate of body comparisons being made on the sites such as Instagram. So this is promising, as it's almost already providing a solution, in this case being parental control. So in the next couple of slides, I'm going to be talking about more about that, and I have two online articles which support this stance. So moving on to my theory, the mass media theory, which I believe best fits my research would be the uses and gratification theory. So, or UTG. This theory states that users actively pursue media which they choose to consume. So in my instance, it would be the teens browsing social media or Instagram to deem how they should look. So once on these sites, teens may make comparisons to other images, and this is when a negative body image can develop. Um, in order to limit this phenomenon, as seen in my annotated bibliography, parental control or intervention is necessary um, and key in helping teens develop healthy social media consumption behaviors. So, with this in mind, parental control, I looked for two articles online that showed the benefits of this, and I'll be talking a little bit more about them in the next two slides. So the first of the two articles showing the benefits of parental control over a teens social media use was published in the American Academy of Pediatrics, and it was titled "Why Limit Your Child's Media Use." The article stated that unsupervised social media use by teens can have a number of detrimental effects on a teen's well-being, and these are listed there. I'll just quickly run through them. Being obesity, sleep problems, problematic internet use, negative effects on school performance, risky behaviors, sexting and privacy predators, and cyberbullying. So these are destructive behaviors, and for me, I grouped the body comparison with these. And it was the solution that this article provided was for parents to step in and impose guidelines and limit the time that their teens spend browsing social media. Um, Parental control was found to be necessary and beneficial. They gave a couple of examples of how to do this, and two of them being plan media free times together. So this could be family dinners, outdoor walks, things like that. And also another one which I kind of liked would be unplugged days. So that's where everyone just switches off their phone, maybe on a Sunday, and just reconnects as human beings instead of just living in this online world, which as we can see can really be destructive. So let's take a look at my next article. The second article I chose to analyze was titled "Cyberbullying as a New Problematic Behavior Presented by Polish Youth" and was published by Karina Leksky in the New Educational Review. And why I chose this article is because for me it really positions why teens are vulnerable on the internet and on social media sites such as Instagram. And they state that the great freedom of use of the internet and the lack of clearly set parental controls make teenagers to the largest extent exposed to negative behaviors on the net. So they remedied this by saying that parental control is necessary to combat cyberbullying, and I believe that this can directly just relate to body image comparisons, that parental control over teen social media use proves beneficial in limiting the destructive behaviors which they may be engaging in um, if they are left unsupervised. So, kind of like the image on the right, that people maybe feel trapped in social media. So, in order to get out of this unhealthy cycle, teens might need some parental intervention to help them combat these destructive behaviors. And if this is achieved, then it's beneficial to the teens. So, bottom line is parental intervention is necessary. Let's conclude in the next slide. As we have discovered earlier in the presentation, teens may be turning to social media sites like Instagram to deem what is socially acceptable. And once they are on these sites, they are presented with many glamorously edited pictures, when they make a comparison between themselves and these images, a negative body image can be developed. So, using the two articles that I analyzed, the main solution to this problem is parental guidance. So, once a happy medium can be established between parental guidance and the teen's social media use, I believe this will prove beneficial and will limit the destructive behaviors that teens may be engaging in on Instagram. So, thank you very much for listening to my presentation. I hope it all makes sense and I have provided a solution to my problem. I hope you have enjoyed it and thank you very much for listening.